Meeting to order. On roll call, Mr. Cassidy.
Here.
Mr. Podak.
Here.
And myself, all committee members are present. I'd ask for approval of the digital minutes of the September 16th meeting, please.
Move to approve those? Second.
And on roll call, Mr. Podak
Yes.
and Mr. Cassidy.
Yes.
And myself, yes. Minutes are approved. Reports, Finance Director.
I did send out the September year-to-date reports. The balance in our bank accounts at the end of September was $22.7 million. Of that $22.7 million, $5.4 million has been committed through open POs. So cash available is $17.3 million. I did provide you some revenue comparisons through year-to-date through 9 months. Happy to report that our real estate property taxes have all been received, and they've come in about $33,000 more than we had forecasted. And on the income tax, we are at 77% of estimated revenue, which is a 5% increase from the prior year through 9 months. As you look at the revenue percent of budget, 75% is kind of your benchmark, what you're looking for. So you'll see real estate's at 102%. It's complete for the year. We really don't have any areas of concern. One area to know is our ambulance charges. They've been extremely busy at the fire department. You'll see we're at 89% of forecasted revenue, and we're actually up 15.8% from the prior year. If you turn back to the enterprise funds, which begin on page 7 of 8, you'll see our water revenue is up significantly, and that's a reflection of the fact that we did not increase rates until July of last year, and then we increased them again in January, and so that's why you see the significant increase there. We are trending, fortunately, above forecast. We're at 83% versus 75%, which really bodes well leading up to the end of the year in terms of being able to somewhat stabilize this fund and work our way out of a fiscal emergency. When we get to the expenses, you'll see our expenses. We've actually done a pretty good job controlling expenses in that account this year, and so that's helped as well. In the sewer fund, you'll see our sewer revenue is up 19% year-to-date compared to the prior year, and again at 81% of forecast and instead of 75. And a couple other things to know: our septic hauling and leachate, we've generated we're up $166,000 on those two line items compared to the prior year. And again, those are things that help solidify the fund, stabilize it, and helps to keep down future rate increases. So those are the positives coming out of the revenue side. On the expense side, all of our expenses are pretty much well within budget. We do have a couple large capital item projects that are going to roll into next year as opposed to being able to get completed this year. We're still waiting on final drawings on the Central Avenue project. And that's an OPWC grant and loan that helps fund part of that. That project will roll over into next year, so you'll see that again on next year's budget. You'll also see another large project next year in the budget on another water infrastructure project that we're working on. So there'll be some significant infrastructure improvements next year, some significant dollars. We'll point those out in our budget work session, which will be at our next scheduled Finance Committee meeting. Any questions, concerns?
I just ran that by you before we got up here, but as I was looking that over, the utilities in both the water and the sewer department are run about 15% lower than we budgeted. If you want to touch on that for everybody.
And so what we've done, two things. Last year in the mayor worked with IGS and we hedged our electric rates. And so we were able to stabilize our electric rates and actually have hedged them not only in 25, but also into 26. And now we're at part of 27. So we're really able to manage what that number looks like going forward, as opposed to just pulling a number out of the air and hoping. The other thing we did is we've looked at all of our AT&T POTS lines and have moved all of those POTS lines now to digital onto Bascom. That savings just from last year to this year was 65,000, but we'll save probably another 20,000 next year in making the move from AT&T to Bascom. So we're trying to control what we can control and improve what we can. So that's what's happened in those utilities this year. And that goes beyond the enterprise funds, but yeah, you pointed out well in the enterprise funds.
Can I ask a question, Steve, regarding the budget, the year to date? The two highlighted items that you have for us, the debt service and then the other expenses.
Mm-hmm.
And those notes are very helpful because it's very deceiving when we put in debt service transfers out and that sort of thing. And I'm just wondering, when I was at the school district, we had a line item for transfers out, and then advances out, and then on the revenue side, we could have return of an advance. Is that something we can add to our, we can add line?
So those line items do exist within the detail. The expense report this is a summary off of what we call our BIS system, which we implemented last year. I haven't quite figured out how all the report writing works on it, but we do have transfers in and out as separate line items within the budget. If you were to print off all the detail to this expense,
and then it puts it all
40
into,
pages.
lumps it together?
Yeah, this is just lumping 48 pages into two.
Okay.
So I didn't think you'd want 40-some
No.
pages of detail. But duly noted, I will see if I can learn how to get those isolated out of debt service, because you're correct, it is misleading.
Well, and especially in advance out, if it's coming back in, it's really just a
In and out.
transactional thing
But it hasn't come back in yet. That's why you see
Right.
the big number.
right.
So along those lines, report on a couple things, and you're going to see some of these advances coming back in. Our splash pad project through September was 79% complete from a contractual perspective. So we have filed for our grant reimbursements up to 79% on those. And we've advanced that park fund and we've advanced the airport fund grant funds until we get those monies back. So we're in that process trying to get as much of that cleaned up before year end as possible.
I suppose this is just me, but when looking at the bank report and seeing all the deposits made, $1 million, 1.9 million, I know that's not all interest because it shows up as 600 and some thousand back on page 1 of the revenue comparison.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just wondering if there's a way to break that. I know that those inputs there's ins and outs both on that page, but if there's a way to get the interest to show.
Oh, just the interest?
Well, like I said, page 1, back here on the revenue, Steve.
Yeah, if you were to look at page 1 on the revenue, page 1 of 8,
Yeah.
see interest earnings, 632,000.
Yeah.
That's year to date.
Yeah.
You
That's why I'm
looking
just
for
saying.
month to date, or?
I'm just saying it'd be, as we're looking at, the bank report, it'd be nice to know that on the bank report.
Oh,
But I think those are fund balances.
Well, I know they're fund balances, but they're also deposits.
these are actual individual accounts. The best way to do that, Bob, is bank account 3, 4, 200, 300, and 400 That is all interest. Because there's nothing else that goes on with those accounts.
Mm.
So that gives you a pretty good flavor. The general checking account doesn't earn interest. It's a compensating balance to offset fees. Um, so it's 3, 4, 200, 300, and 400. If you add those up, that'd be your interest for the month.
Right. I know where the interest for the year is, and we're at 126% of budget.
Mhm.
So that's great. But I'm just saying, I'm just looked at it and go, well, I wonder how much of that's interest. And then as I went through this further, then I found it. So, well, I knew where it was at.
Okay. But to use this report to do that, just take those, whatever those deposits were for those accounts every month, and that will be your interest,
200, 300, and 400.
as well as 3 and 4 up top.
Oh, okay. Very good. Thank you.
Mhm.
Anything else?
Nope, that's all I had.
Mayor Minell?
Nothing.
And Mr. Keckler?
Just to touch on what Steve was talking about, we've spent some pretty quality time with Mr. Dan Rand over the last couple of months. I'm sorry, Steve, building the next phase of the 5-year recovery plan. There's a lot of really great projects in there, so I think you're gonna enjoy what you see coming into next year. It's been kind of entertaining working with all the department heads and us as a group, trying to put together some great plans for you for next year. So not too far away from introducing that to the group. So
Will those projects, will we go into detail at those at that budget work session?
Yes, yeah. You'll have a detailed listing of all of our capital projects for the next 5 years. The significant ones are this year. And you'll see some priorities that were set by the administration in next year's budget in terms of streets and things of that nature. So you'll be able to see that we're reinvesting, trying to catch up over the next 2 years on where we've saved money to do our big 23 South project.
Great. We'll look forward to that. Okay, committee members. Mr. Cassidy, do you have anything for the committee?
No, not really.
And Mr. Podak?
I don't believe so. I'll wait to see the projects.
That's exciting. I have a couple items. I emailed these to you. If you recall, last time we met, we were working on our fund carryover balance policy. And we came out of that deciding to make some revisions to the one section which deals with the use of general fund carryover balances. And I took the information that was brought up here about sending the message in this section that, having a carryover exceeding the threshold we set is not necessarily a bad thing. And then also at looking at the end of the forecast as far as whether the carryover amount is appropriate. So what I came up with as a response to those statements was the section would read, the fund carryover balance may be used for purposes deemed appropriate by City Council. The balance established in this policy represents a minimum threshold. Maintaining a higher reserve is not inherently negative, especially when large capital projects are anticipated in future years and will require significant cash resources. Council should refer to the final year of the 5-year forecast to help determine the appropriate carryover threshold. So I guess I'm just looking for feedback and to decide if we have captured what the committee wanted in that section.
I think you got it.
Any other changes that we feel that are necessary, or do we believe that this is ready to move on to council?
Ready.
Me too.
Okay. So would one of you be willing to make a motion
So moved.
to move that on to council? Mr. Cassidy?
Second.
Thank you. And on roll call, Mr. Cassidy?
Yes.
Mr. Podak?
Yes.
And myself, yes. We will move that fund carryover balance policy to council for their next meeting. One other thing that came up as I was speaking with a resident regarding the tax renewal, the question came to me, and I said I would bring it to this committee, and maybe you can answer this, Mr. Dandrian. When we have contractors working within the city limits, like we do right now, a large presence, the pipeline people and specifically, we know that they would be a significant payroll coming from that. And their employer should be withholding Fostoria income tax on that, I believe.
There
Either
are
they have to
limitations.
self-report.
Well, there's limitations on their liability in terms of how many days they're going to be working in the city.
Okay.
So if it's less than, I believe it's 30, they're not required to withhold nor remit.
Okay.
The bigger
That's it.
issue,
I did not know
yeah,
that.
I think the
appreciate
bigger
that.
issue is not so much the withholdings on the employees that are working in the city. It's more reaching out to those companies for their income tax proportionate share from these projects. So as a company, they're making money on that project, and technically that's taxable to the city. And so we've reached out to Rita to see what is the
Okay.
proper way to reach out to those contractors to get them on notice that, hey, you should be filing a return for the city of Fostoria on your proportionate income.
I would
earned.
think that that would be a routine for them.
You,
That should be something they'd be well versed in, considering the type of work that they do.
depending the size of the company.
Okay.
I don't disagree with you, but I would tell you the smaller the company, the less likely that's happening. Somebody like a M&B Asphalt, I'm sure they understand all of that. Other contractors, I can't speak to. So that we have that into Rita as to how do we reach out to them? What's that look like?
So you're in
And-
the process of
yes,
asking those
yes.
questions. Okay.
And I believe Rita actually sends out those letters.
Should
Good.
that be something that's in the contracts that we let to these contractors?
That's where you were going to talk to the law director. But municipal income taxes are legislated at a state level as well. So there's state law that we can fall back on in terms of requirement.
Do those companies, if they've met that more than 30-day window, do they have to report that to Rita? Do they have to provide us with a list of those contractors that should be reporting, or?
They could, yeah, they have that information. Rita, as our income tax agent, does all of our compliance and follow-up type work.
Okay.
I've had people approach me and say, hey, this person should be filing taxes, and they're not. We're not in the compliance business in our office.
Okay.
One of the advantages of Rita is they are. So Rita's cross-checking databases. So they're seeing federal income tax databases, who's filed.
Okay.
Did they file for the city? If not, what's the discrepancy? They're doing that type of work on our behalf. And that was some of the letters that go out. If you remember last year,
Yeah.
about this time, we had letters going out, hey, you haven't filed in 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that? Oh, I'm retired. Well, you needed to let Rita know that you're retired so we can get you off the rolls. Or, oops, I should have and I didn't, and they're following up.
Or if you
So-
moved?
Or you moved, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a variety of reasons why somebody would not file, and there are those occasions where somebody forgot to file. So Rita does that on our behalf.
Okay.
One of the advantages of why you engage an organization like Rita as opposed to trying to do it all in-house.
Would you update us when you hear back from them?
Sure.
On that
Yep.
query you have with
Happy-
them right now?
Happy to.
Thank you. Anything else before I turn it over to the community? Is there anyone from the community that would like to speak on a finance-related item? Hearing none, then I will announce that our next finance committee committee meeting will not occur in November in lieu of a budget work session, which will be held with the full council. The next finance meeting will be held on Tuesday, December 16th, 2025 in council chambers at 5:30 p.m. If I could have a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second,
And on roll call, Mr. Podak,
Yes.
Mr. Cassidy,
yes.
and myself, we are adjourned at 5:50 p.m.